$12,383.03. That's how much money I've spent on Star Citizen. I'm putting it right here on the screen because if we're gonna have this conversation, then let's do it with all of my cards laid on the table. I've been talking about transparency and accountability, and here it is. That's over about 10 years now, and between my day job, my business I've built, and this YouTube channel, it represents less than 1% of our combined household income during that time. Without context, it's a big number, but some of you watching this probably even make me look financially responsible, and I appreciate you for that. Call it roughly about $100 a month. My dad spends more playing golf. That's his hobby. Mine's playing video games. And in those 10 years, I've been paying my mortgage, I bought cars, started a company, made a little money, lost a lot of money, lived my life, and yes, apparently along the way I bought $12,000 worth of imaginary spaceships. As a backer, I own that number. But what I don't own is the $1 billion. And I'm getting really fucking tired of being expected to. Low IQ trolling thrives on that if you get caught expressing genuine enthusiasm for the game, then they say, oh, but it's 13 years and $1 billion and it's not released yet. And if you fall through a planet, well, 13 years, $1 billion, and it has so many bugs. If you told somebody that you had fun playing it last night, well, did you know that Star Citizen has raised over $1 billion and you're a dumbass for supporting it? That's the angle. And I know, we all fucking know, it's an insane number. Cloud Imperium will have to answer for that number until the day Star Citizen's finished. If it finishes, that's their responsibility. It isn't mine, and it isn't the responsibility of anyone who backs the game either. Millions of purchasing decisions were made by millions of different people over 13 years, and they eventually added up to this absurd number. Some of the criticism of the game is completely legitimate. I've made plenty of it myself. I found people in Facebook groups saying that I'm a negative YouTuber who hates Star Citizen, which I find wild. I can't believe that. Other people think I'm a shill, which is maybe more accurate. Apparently, I hate the game, and I blindly defend it at the same time. Listen, we can't even agree on what I am. How the hell can we agree on what Star Citizen is? If Star Citizen is just $1 billion scam that's accomplished nothing in 13 years, then it's easy to make fun of that. The problem is when the game actually works, and despite how negative we can be on YouTube, it does work. And it can be fucking incredible. That's the real story, and the $1 billion crowd just doesn't want it told. I just had the best experience I've ever had in Star Citizen. A week ago, people were convinced that the Siege of Orison was going to be the thing that kills the game. But Friday morning, I logged into the PTU with Keenan from Sanobel Games and his wife, and we jumped into the instance. I had 150 FPS in the middle of the Siege of Orison. I was so excited about that, I made a post to the YouTube channel mid-encounter, and then I proceeded to get downed over and over and over again because I decided to play it like a spaz. Everybody kept saying that the AI is brain dead, and I tested that. They fucked me up. It was glorious. Keenan and I went back ourselves later, and I treated the game with the proper respect. Hiding, peeking, playing angles, and it was amazing. The whole time I couldn't stop smiling. This is just one thing to do in this game. If you did Siege by yourself, I'd estimate it would probably take you about 3 hours if you're cautious. There are plenty of games I paid full price for that gave me maybe 15 or 20 hours before I was done with them. Here, one mission gave me 3. I'm blown away by that. In fact, there's so much to do now in Star Citizen that it's ironic that the major criticism was always the scope creep itself, because it assumes that this is impossible. If we had the original Kickstarter version of the game, we'd be playing an even shittier version of Starfield, full of loading screens, 1 or 2 showcase locations, and the rest generic throwaway ones in a sea of procedurally generated slop. Unfortunately, that description is also why I can't enjoy No Man's Sky. I'm happy for the people who can, but that was never the game I wanted. I've always wanted the Impossible Vision, the game where you walk through your ship, you can load it with cargo yourself, it's physicalized, it's just right there, and then you go and you do something fun. Yesterday, I spent 3 hours fighting through one mission in Orison. Today, I'm going to put on a podcast and do some mining in VR. And on Sunday, I'm joining some friends and we're going to go do tactical strike groups. And the truth is, I don't engage with even a fraction of everything Star Citizen has to offer. You can literally play a different game every day with this game if you want to. But tunnel vision is a real thing. I used to run FPS bunkers exclusively in Star Citizen for years, and I missed out on a lot of the game. Now I try to force myself to do everything, and because of that, I can see the real scope of what's here. That's what we miss when we're knee-deep in the discussion about bugs or performance on a developer livestream. And to be clear, those conversations are worth having, just not raging about it and blowing it out of proportion. Everyone seems to be a goldfish when it comes to Star Citizen's progress. We assume that today's version of the game will be the same one we'll always have, and then convince ourselves that it was always like this too. So the next time a YouTube video solves a problem with that, we'll be the first. To get so worked up over that assumes that progress doesn't exist, that nothing improves over time, and it's just bullshit. Star Citizen today is vastly different than it was 10 months ago. We've had most of the deliverables that they showed us at CitizenCon in October 2025 already come into the game. We had Nyx and Levski immediately after that, Interstellar Hauling too. Then we had Rockcracker show up, and Crafting is even in the game now. Tactical strike groups are in. And now the instancing technology and Siege of Orison are ready to go. You'd have been insane to be thinking about a Star Citizen 1.0 release a few years ago. Now, I think you're insane not to. I don't think it's an accident that when it's starting to come together, the game's funding has exploded. The US economy's been pretty shit lately, and yet people still support this game. It's not out of the question that Star Citizen will do $180 million in revenue in 2026, or maybe more, and 2027 could see $200 million. And it's not because of hopium, copium, or any of the dismissive buzzwords that I filtered from the comments. They're just another way to say, fuck you, you're stupid. They antagonize and dismiss people, but they aren't real rebuttals, just like the $100 billion statement isn't. There was a comment in my video on Genesis Planet Tech that I think framed what's going on better than anything I could summarize myself. My video was positive, explaining why I'm still here and why I still believe in Star Citizen. I'm excited about the new planets and how much that'll mean to me. Commenter said this, quote, "You generally sound defeated talking about this. It's a huge scam. Try Elite or X4. I've been putting hours into the latter and it's great. Loads of ships and really in depth. I was in my late 20s when I first heard about Star Citizen, and now I'm in my early 40s. I'm old enough to remember Chris Roberts overpromised on Freelancer, then sacked it off. Ended up being half-baked, but good enough. So with this game, I decided to give it a couple years before sinking anything into it. I'm glad I didn't." Okay, I read that, and part of me wants to go full Governor Tarkin. In our moment of triumph? Which is probably a terrible reference for me to make since 5 minutes later he gets vaporized over Yavin. But maybe bookmark this video for if Star Citizen ever gets cancelled or if it releases in 1.0. We'll see who gets the last laugh. I still think it's going to be me though. I feel the opposite of defeated right now. If you believe this project could eventually become something close to that impossible vision, this is probably the most vindicated you felt in a very long time. We love stories about people believing in something when the odds say they shouldn't. It's the entire plot of Star Wars and the hero of 1,000 faces mythology it's built off of. It's in most of the stories that we tell ourselves because real life gives us plenty of reasons to expect things to go wrong. And somewhere along the way, circa 2015-ish, Star Citizen became the opposite. Hating on it was the mainstream position. You could call it a scam, laugh at anyone who still believed in it, and there was basically no downside because every delay proved you right again. But that position is getting harder to maintain now. I'm not talking emotionally. If it's emotional, you're locked in and nothing I say matters. If you decided 10 years ago that Chris Roberts is a con artist, nothing they do will change that. Logically though, I think that gets harder every patch. The joke is that if it is a scam, well then they might accidentally end up making the game. So to that commenter, I want to say this. Your skepticism doesn't insult me. I'm happy you're playing games that you like just as I'm happy to have funded this one. If it ever becomes something that you want to play, no one will hold it against you. There's no accountability on the internet, and changing your mind is completely free. There's a saying that old men plant trees whose shade they'll never enjoy. I hope that doesn't become true for me. I'm in my 40s now. But if my funding this game was a small part of why someone can pay $45 once and enjoy Star Citizen, I'll take that. That's part of the $1 billion that I'll personally claim. And I don't regret it. Believe me, I've spent money on things that meant a hell of a lot less to me, and I have literally nothing to show for it. See you in the verse.